Good evening, everyone. Let's discuss the news, daily news analysis of all the important newspapers and news events. Right. So, we are taking some new initiatives. That is, we are covering the Assam Tribune as well as the Hindu and Indian Express and Press Information Bureau as well, right? So it is 19th of October, right? So it is very much important that you are very aware about the current affairs because it is current affairs holds the maximum importance in your civil services examinations, whatever it is, prelims or mains examinations, or even in the interviews also. So, current affairs, all the things, all the static part is connected to your current affairs. So, that is why it is very much important that you have a good hold and good understanding about the current affairs and what is happening in the current events. It is very much important from that point of view, also. Right. So let's discuss the news articles. Before discussing the news articles, I would like to mention that admissions are open for the Gender Studies Foundation courses. It is today is the last date. Okay, today is the last date. Still, you have time till 12, 12 p.m. Right, 12. So you can avail the course through. You can call in this number also. Right. So let's not waste much time and let's discuss what are the contents I'll be covering today. Right. So contents I will be covering from the point of view of your exam. That is from Assam Tribune. I'll be covering the Myanmar leader says ASEAN blind to opposition's violence. That is the statement I will be discussing. What is ASEAN in details? I'll be discussing whole about it. Then in the Assam Tribune only, the next news article that is Shumang Leela festival begins in Manipur. The third article I'm going to cover that is Arunachal officer takes command of Navy hospital ship. Right? That is these are the articles I will be covering from Assam Tribune. From the Hindu, I will be covering COP26 activities. Activists ask Church of England to divest from fossil fuels. That is the first article I'll be covering from the Hindu. Second article I'll be covering that is a Jeep India launches CSR program. So I will be discussing what they have launched, in the CSR program, and I'll be discussing what is CSR also. Right. Then, from the Indian Express point of view, I'll be discussing the Jainshankar unveils plague at Bhutan Grove in Israel. So that will be discussing. Then, from the point of view of Press Information Bureau, I'll be discussing Kushinagar connects to Sri Lanka. So these articles I'll be covering today. So I hope you guys will enjoy this journey, right? So let's start with the discussion. That is the first article we'll be covering. That is Myanmar leader says ASEAN blind to opposition's violence. So it is very much important from your general studies paper two, that is international relations, right? So I took the article from Assam Tribune, right? So let's discuss what it is in news and why it is in news. So leaders of Myanmar's military installed government recently there is a coup happened, right? There is a military coup happened in Myanmar. So the leader of Myanmar's military installed government said on Monday that other South Asian countries should share responsibility for failing to help quell the violence that was engulfed his nation since the army seized power in February. তো আল্টিমেটলি তাত এইটোৱে কৈছে যে যিখিনি এতিয়া ৰিচেণ্টলি ম্যানমাৰত যিখিনি চিটুৱেশ্যন হৈ আছে মিলিটাৰী কু হৈছিলে মিলিটাৰী কু মানে জাষ্ট মিলিটাৰী দে আৰ অভাৰটেকিং দ্য গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট by overthrowing the civil government, right? So military they are having the control in that country, right? So military coup ultimately hit a project. তো যেতিয়া হেনেকা হৈছিলে তো he is now the leader of the Myanmar's military installed government. He is now blaming the South Asian countries that যেতিয়া এনেকা situation হৈ আছিলে they should help the country ইমান violence হৈছিলে তো তাত যাতে বাকি South Asian countries বোৰে তেওঁলোকক help কৰিব লাগিছিলে ইমান violence হ'ব দিব নালাগিছিলে that is the overall statement he gave. So ASEAN in April reached a 5-point consensus to which Myanmar agreed, okay, calling for the immediate cessation of violation, or you can say violence, a dialogue among all the concerned parties, mediation by the ASEAN Special Envoy, provision of humanitarian aid through ASEAN channels, and a visit to Myanmar by the Special Envoy to meet at the concerned parties. Right? So, এইখিনি যিখিনি আমাৰ নিউজত আছিলে এইখিনি বস্তু আছিলে মেজৰ নিউজত বস্তু এইখিনি আছিলে মেজৰ নিউজত কন্টেন্ট এইখিনি আছিলে they are talking about the 5-point consensus য'ত কোৱা হৈছে যে to which Myanmar agreed যেটো Myanmar agree কৰিছিলে right calling for immediate cessation of violence তাত কোৱা হৈছিলে 5-point consensus কোৱা হৈছিলে যাতে immediately violence to বন্ধ হয় right so a dialogue among all concerned parties, mediation by the ASEAN Special Envoy, provision of humanitarian aid through ASEAN channels. Right. So, এইখিনি হৈছে নিউজত আছিলে. So then we have to also discuss what is ASEAN. That can ask, right? Because ASEAN বহুত নিউজত আছিলে. তো মেইনছত এইটো সুধিব পাৰে. Related direct question সুধিব পাৰে what is ASEAN আৰু কিবা কিবি. Right? So এইটো সুধিব পাৰে. So we have to discuss about it. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations is a regional organization which was established to promote political and social stability amid rising tensions among the Asian Pacific's post-colonial states. বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ প্ৰব্লেম চলি আছিলে in recent times also বিভিন্ন ধৰণৰ প্ৰব্লেম চলি আছে যিটো actually ASEAN গঠন হোৱাত সহায় কৰিছিলে actually যাতে problemsবোৰ solve হয় between these countries actually. Right. So the motto of ASEAN is one vision, one identity, one community. 8th August is observed as the ASEAN Day. Our ASEAN Secretariat Code that is in Indonesia, Jakarta. So ASEAN grouping or member, but ASEAN members would hold Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Malaysia, Singapore, Brunei, Indonesia, then Philippines. এইকেইখন হৈছে member. Right. So আপোনালোকে মনত ৰখা উচিত যে ইহঁতৰ মেম্বাৰ কোনবিলাক right then we will be discussing about the other informations that is the history of ASEAN. In 1967 ASEAN was established with the signing of ASEAN Declaration. কেতিয়া হৈছিলে 1967 এইটো মনত ৰাখিব right কাৰণ এইবিলাক ষ্টেটমেন্টত আহিব পাৰে right easy question হৈ যাব পাৰে কেতিয়াবা এইটো মনত ৰাখিব যে কেতিয়া এষ্টাবলিছ হৈছিল ASEAN Declaration বুলি কৈছে কিন্তু তাৰ এটা বিশেষ নাম আছে Bangkok হৈছিলে এইটো তো সেইকাৰণে সেইটো কাৰণে ইয়াক কোৱা হয় Bangkok Declaration by its founding fathers. The founding fathers of ASEAN are Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. The founding members of গোটেইবিলাক নাছিলে তাত আছিলে Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. APSC. Right? এনেকে মনত ৰাখিব পাৰে আপোনালোকৰ কথা. Then in 1990s, membership doubled after the changing conditions in the region following the end of Vietnam War in 1975 and Cold War in 1991. Additions of Brunei 1984, Vietnam 1985, Laos and Myanmar in 1997 and Cambodia in 1999. In 1995, members signed a deal to create a nuclear-free zone in Southeast Asia. A very important point, right? যেতিয়া আমাৰ বহুত বিলাক কথা নিউজত থাকে nuclear against the nuclear warhead বা nuclear weapon or against nuclear against তো এইবিলাক কথা important হৈ যায়. In 1995, members signed a deal to create a nuclear-free zone in Southeast Asia in 1995. In 1997, adoption of ASEAN Vision 2020. তেতিয়াই সেই ভিজনটো আছিলে in 2003 Bali Concord 2 for the establishment of ASEAN community. In 2007 Cebu Declaration to accelerate the establishment of ASEAN community by 2015. In 2008, ASEAN Charter comes into force and become legally binding agreement. এটা মনত ৰাখিব, এইবোৰ ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট। লিগেলি বাইণ্ডিং এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট কৈছে যে এইটো লিগেলি বাইণ্ডিং এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট হ'ব। তাত যদি কিবা ডিক্লেৰেশ্যন বা তাত যদি কিবা এগ্ৰিমেণ্ট হয় সেইটো লিগেলি বাইণ্ডেড হ'ব। যদি নামানে, that will be a problematic for the grouped country, for that member country. In 2015, launch of ASEAN Community. ASEAN Community is comprised of three pillars, that is political and security community, economic community, and socio-cultural community. So three pillar divide kora hoise. That is political security, then is economic community, and the socio-cultural community. Right? So that is the history of ASEAN. Then we have to discuss what is the objective of this grouping. To accelerate the economic growth, social progress, and cultural development for a prosperous and peaceful community in the Southeast Asian nation. To promote regional peace, stability through aiding respect for justice. So এইটো objective আছিলে, এইটোৰ আণ্ডাৰতে actually এই statement দিয়া হৈছিল by this leader, right? এইটোৰ আণ্ডাৰতে দিয়া হৈছিল যে regional peace and stability কাৰণে the Southeast Asian nations, they didn't help that. They didn't help to reduce the violence or curb the violence. এইটোৰ আণ্ডাৰতে তেওঁ statement দিছিলে। To promote active collaboration and mutual assistance on matters of common interest. To collaborate more effectively for the greater utilization of agriculture and industries, the expansion of the trade and improvement in the transportation and communications. তো এইটোৰ আণ্ডাৰতে আপোনাৰ ধৰি লওক এই ট্ৰান্সপৰ্টেশ্যন বা এইটো কথা বা কোলাবৰেশ্যন এণ্ড মিউচুৱেল এচিষ্টেঞ্চ, ৰাইট, দ্য কমন ইণ্টাৰেষ্ট বুলি কৈছে, তাৰ আণ্ডাৰতে আপোনাৰ ধৰক বহুতটা সেও চলি আছে, ৰাইট। আপোনাৰ ধৰি লওক যে মেকং গংগা যিটো ইনিচিয়েটিভ, সেইটোকো আপোনাৰ ASEANৰ লগত কেতিয়াবা কানেক্ট কৰে, বিকজ চাম কাণ্ট্ৰিজ আৰ ইনভলভড ইন দ্যাট প্ৰজেক্ট অলছ'। I'll be discussing those things in later stage because Hebrew news are here, so I will be discussing whenever that new comes in the news, right? To promote Southeast Asian studies, because attack aru ki asile community tinta pillar attack ki asile socio cultural community asile, so they are discussing that they are focusing on the Southeast Asian studies also, right? To maintain close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations. So these are the objectives of ASEAN grouping or ASEAN initiative or whatever it is, right? That's it. Then institutional mechanism. The chairmanship of ASEAN rotates annually based on the alphabetical order of English names member states. So এতিয়া আপোনালোকে এটা বস্তুটো মনত আছে চাগে যে ইমান ডিছকাশ্যন কৰাৰ পিছত এইটো গম পাইছে যে ইণ্ডিয়া ইজ নট এ মেম্বাৰ অফ ASEAN। ইণ্ডিয়া মেম্বাৰ নহয়, ৰাইট? সেইটো বস্তু এটলিষ্ট আপোনালোকে গম পাইছে। তো এনেকৈ যেতিয়া আমি ডিছকাছ কৰি থাকিম, তো দেন ইউ উইল বি ভেৰি ক্লিয়াৰ এবাউট অল দ্য গ্ৰুপিংছ অলছ', ৰাইট? চ' যেতিয়া ৰিভিজন হৈ থাকিব থ্ৰু দিজ থিংছ, দেট উইল হেল্প ইউ, right? So ASEAN Summit, the supreme policy making body of ASEAN as the highest level of authority in ASEAN, the summit sets the direction of ASEAN policies and objectives. ASEAN Ministerial Council, the charter established 4 important ministerial council, that is coordinating council, political security, it will discuss korisu ami, right? Then decision making, the primary mode of decision making, ASEAN's consultation and the consensus. Then ASEAN led forums, ASEAN and যিবিলাক forum established কৰিছে, then we have to discuss about that. ASEAN Regional Forums, ARF, launched in 1993. The 27-member multilateral grouping was developed to facilitate the cooperation on political and security issues, to contribute to regional confidence building and preservative diplomacy. ASEAN Plus 3, the consultative group initiated in 1997, bring together ASEAN 10 members, right? তিনিটা গ্ৰুপক তিনিখন কাণ্ট্ৰিক এড কৰা হৈছিল, China, Japan, and South Korea. East Asia Summit, the first held in 2005, the summit seeks to promote security and prosperity in the region, right? Usually attended by the heads of state from the ASEAN, Australia, China, ইয়াতে আছে India, East Asia Summitত India is included. সেইটো মনত ৰাখিব, right? Then Japan, New Zealand, Russia, South Korea, and the United States. ASEAN plays a central role as the agenda setter, right? Then we have to talk about the India and ASEAN also. India's relationship with ASEAN is a key pillar of her foreign policy and foundation of Act East policy. আমি ডিসকাস কৰিছো Act East policy আগতে বহুতবাৰ ডিসকাস কৰিছো. সো ইণ্ডিয়াৰ কাৰণে ASEAN কান্ট্ৰিজ বিলাক যদি আপোনালোকে চাই কান্ট্ৰিজ বিলাক ক'ত আছে, যিহেতু এইখন म्यांमाৰৰ লগত ইণ্ডিয়াৰ বৰ্ডাৰ শ্বেয়াৰ কৰে, ৰাইট? আমি জানো সেইটো কথা. তো সেইটো কাৰণে যদি ইণ্ডিয়াৰ বৰ্ডাৰ শ্বেয়াৰ কৰে আৰু म्यांमार is a member of the ASEAN, then it is very much important that we should have a good relation with ASEAN groupings, right? So that is very much important, right, as a neighboring country or যেটো আমাৰ extended neighborhood বুলিও কোৱা হয়, right? So ASEAN is a key pillar of her foreign policy and the foundation of Act East policy. So Act East policy আগতে কি বুলি জানা গৈছিল, please comment কৰিব. Okay, India has a separate mission to ASEAN and EAC in Jakarta. India and ASEAN already have 25 years of dialogue partnership, 15 years of summit level interaction, and 5 years of strategic partnership with ASEAN, right? So what are the economic cooperation? ASEAN is India's 4th largest trading partners. India's trade with ASEAN stands at approximately 10.6% of India's overall trade, right? So that is that means India has a key India has a key relation with ASEAN countries. India's exports to ASEAN stands at 11.28% of our total exports. The ASEAN-India free trade area has been completed. ASEAN-India Business Council was set up in 2003 to bring the key private sector players from India and ASEAN countries on a single platform. What are the socio-cultural cooperation? The program to boost people-to-people interaction with ASEAN, such as inviting ASEAN students to India, special training courses for ASEAN diplomats, exchange of parliamentaries, etc., is also happening in the socio-cultural cooperation. Right? There is information related to fund. Financial assistance have been provided to ASEAN countries from following funds: the ASEAN-India Cooperation Fund, ASEAN-India SNT, Science and Technology Development Fund, ASEAN-India Green Fund. The Delhi Declaration was also there to identify the cooperation in the maritime domain as a key area of cooperation under ASEAN-India Strategic Partnership. India's Delhi Dialogue is an annual track 1.5 event for discussing political security and economic issues between the ASEAN and India. ASEAN-India Center to undertake policy research, advocacy, and networking activities with organizations and think tank in the India and ASEAN. So these are the information which are very much important from your mains point of view, as well as some informations are important from your prelims point of view also. So whenever you are writing some mains answer, these things are very much important. Whenever you are writing these things in the international relations, whatever you are writing in the international relation, it is very much important also. Right? So let's move. The next article I'll be covering, that is Jainshankar unveils plaque at Bhudan Grove in Israel. Right? So it is very much important from General Studies paper 2, international relations. I took the article from Assam Tribune, and I also took help from the Indian Express. So why it is in news? Because External Affairs Minister S. Jainshankar on Monday unveils the Bhudan Grove plaque at Jerusalem Forest, bringing out lesser-known aspects of Indo-Israel relations between the establishment of full-fledged diplomatic ties between the two countries. So that is the whole news is about. So what is the objective it is talking about? With an objective of keeping Mahatma Gandhi's concept of village as the basic unit of development, in the leaders who were exploring ways to implement the socialist ideas of the Sarvodaya movement, namely Bhudan and Gramdan. And these that এই যিটো ভুটান এণ্ড গ্ৰামদান যদি আপোনালোকে হিষ্ট্ৰী পঢ়িছে, হিষ্ট্ৰী যদি আপোনালোকে জি এছৰ কাৰণে পঢ়িছে, আপোনালোকে ভালকে গম পাব যে ভুটান এণ্ড গ্ৰামদান, ৰাইট, এই যিটো কনচেপ্ট এইটো হিষ্ট্ৰী, এনচিয়েণ্ট হিষ্ট্ৰীটো আছে, ভুটান এণ্ড গ্ৰামদান, ৰাইট। চ' সেইটো কাৰণে that is very much important, এই আৰ্টিকেলটো সেইটো কাৰণে বেছি ইম্পৰ্টেণ্ট হৈ যায় আৰু, right? So made several visits to Israel to study the social structures of different forms of Israel, communal and cooperative institutions, kibbutzim and mausoleum. So what are the historical significance? So Jayaprakash Narayan, the leader of Sarvodaya movement, visited Israel in September 1958 on a 9-day visit as a guest of Histadrut, the Israel Federation of Labor. Then his visit received wide attention in the Israel media, which warmly welcomed him and carried long biographical articles. He met then Israel Prime Minister David Ben also. Then the Narayan's visit was followed by the over 27 Sarvodaya team also. Right. And the discussion was also, he met then the Prime Minister, Israel Prime Minister David Ben, and visited Far Saba in the central Israel and near the Sea of Galilee. Right, Sea of Galilee. That's why I have mentioned, I have given the picture here from, I took the picture from Economist, and where the Sea of Galilee is located, it is located in here. It is bordering by the Golan Heights and it is in Israel, right? It is in Israel. So this is the location of Sea of Galilee. So it is very much important that you know the locations very perfectly. Right. Let's move. The 27 members, the followed by the 27 members of Sarvodaya team, which during its 6-month study tour in Israel from February to August 1960 spent time in Tel Aviv. Tel Avivৰ কথা আমি recently discussion কৰিছো, right? যেতিয়া তাত এখন ৰিচেণ্টলি নিউজ আৰ্টিকেলতো আছিলে যে তাত এখন চিটি টাইপৰ এখন পাইছিলে য'ত ভিটিকালচাৰ বা যিটো ৱাইন মেকিং যিটো এক্টিভিটি তাত আজিৰ পৰা 1500 years আগৰ এখন জেগা পাইছিল, ফেক্টৰী বা এনেকুৱা এটা পাইছিলে। তো উই হেভ ডিছকাছড এবাউট ইট, ৰাইট? তেল আভিভৰ কথা আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিছোঁ। এণ্ড কাফ Giladi in northern Israel. On their way back to India, they planted the Bhudan Grove in the Jerusalem forest on May 22nd, 1960. Jainshankar described the visit by Narayan and Bhudan workers as an aspect of our shared history which hasn't received the attention it deserves. So that is the whole information they are talking about, right? Then let's move on. Good evening, Parishmita. Good evening. Please let me know here. We actually from CSAP we are trying something new, right? We're discussing all the news articles. So let me know, guys, if you like this initiative or if you are benefited with it, right? So that you guys have enough content to write in mains, right? So that is why we are trying something different, that we cover all the news articles, or just we're trying to cover all the news articles. It is not possible, yes, I know, but the major news articles we are covering, that is the Hindu from Assam point of view, Northeast point of view, the Assam Tribune and the Indian Express. The news articles in Indian Express are sometimes it is very much important from your economics point of view. The editorials in the news articles, then we're also discussing or also covering the PIB also, so that you have a, I mean, overall perspective, overall knowledge about the current affairs. You don't miss anything. So that we are trying to do in this, through this initiative. Okay, please let me know how it is, and if you have any suggestions, we are open to receive it. We will be very thankful if you give any suggestions to us. Okay. So then COP26 activists asked Church of England to divest from fossil fuels. Right. So it is very much important from General Studies paper 3, biodiversity and environment. I took the article from Assam Tribune and I also took help from the Hindu. It is mainly in the Hindu. I took help from Assam Tribune also. Because it was mentioned in Assam Tribune also. Why it is in news? Because in the run-up for the UN Climate Change Summit named COP, Conference of Parties 26, 5 Christians dressed as penitents, even as a member of the clergy, poured fake oil over them outside the Lambeth Palace in protest at the Church of England's continued investment in the fossil fuel industries. So it was in news because it is as a protest, right, as a protest at the Church of England continued investment in the fossil fuel. So they do not want to invest, they do not want the government to invest in the fossil fuels furthermore, right? So 8 people in the Sunday stage dying outside the palace, which involves some of them lying on the ground in protest, while others held banners protesting the church's engagement with the fossil fuel industry. তো তেওঁলোকে বেয়া পাইছে এইটো বস্তু যে ফসিল ফিউলৰ চাৰ্জে এতিয়াও ইমান এংগেজমেণ্ট হৈ আছে আৰু ইমান নিৰ্ভৰ কৰি আছে। চ' সেইটো কথা তেওঁলোকে বেয়া পাইছে আৰু দে আৰ প্ৰটেষ্টিং এগেইনষ্ট। চ' দেট বিকামছ এ নিউজ। Ahead of becomes a news কিয়? Because COP26 at Glasgow is coming up, right? So ahead of COP26 in Glasgow, that the UK is hosting, the activists are demanding that the church immediately announce its intention to divest from fossil fuel. So the fossil fuel are used no correct church, right? So companies and that they complete divestment by December 31, 2020. So তেওঁলোকে সেইটো বিচাৰিছে যাতে fossil fuel are used no correct. Right, so that is the whole intention of that protest, right? So they are also asking the church to urgently speak out for immediate action to prevent irreversible climate impact and ensures a livable planet for all the God's creation. So what a beautiful, I think this is a beautiful protest. I think they are protesting against the use of fossil fuel, which is very very much important for us, for this country, this world to survive actually, right? So just have a I mean, I would say ki ভাবাচোন অলপ ভাবি চোৱা যে ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জে কেনেকা ইস্যু ক্ৰিয়েট কৰি আছে আমাৰ কাৰণে, ৰাইট? ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জে কিয়, যোৱাকালি আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিছিলো চাগে যে গুৱাহাটীত বহুত বেছি সেই হৈ আছে, মানে টেম্পাৰেচাৰ বাঢ়ি আছে, ৰাইট? টেম্পাৰেচাৰ বাঢ়িছে, যোৱাকালি আমি ডিছকাছ কৰিছিলো। দেন আই হেভ অলছ' ডিছকাছড, সেই ছেম আৰ্টিকলটো ডিছকাছ কৰিছিলো যে গুৱাহাটী, দেন অল দ্য কেপিটেলছ of then other northeastern states, right? Itanagar hawk, baki he hawk, to তাত ক্যাপিটাল বিলাকত বহুত বেছি টেম্পাৰেচাৰ হৈ আছে। বাকি খিনিতো হৈ আছে, বাকি কান্ট্ৰি বা বাকি ষ্টেট বিলাকতো হৈ আছে। ষ্টেট বিলাকৰ ক্যাপিটাল বিলাকত বেছি টেম্পাৰেচাৰ হৈ আছে কিয়? বিকজ অফ কংক্ৰিটাইজেশ্যন। বিকজ এতিয়া চোৱা, এতিয়া গুৱাহাটীত জাম, বহুত ট্ৰাফিক জাম বহুত হৈ আছে। That is also creating problem for the environment, right? Heat budget effect hoise, then fossil fuel jetia gari iman choli thakibo, iman jam hoi ase, so that is also creating problem. So I say that this protest, I mean it is very much is in need. 8জন মানুহ নহয়, বহুত মানুহ লাগিব তাৰ কাৰণে সেই protest to continue কৰিব কাৰণে। Because climate change is real, it is not a myth, right? So ahead of COP26 we have to discuss, ahead of COP20, not ahead of it, we have to discuss in real life, because what they say, they ensure a livable place for all the God's creation. It will die. The earth will die if we run like this, right? Then we have to discuss what is Conference of Parties, what is COP. The background of COP comes. So sorry. I'm so sorry. One second. Okay. So the COP comes under the United Nations Climate Change Framework Convention (UNFCCC), which is formed in 1994. The UNFCCC was established to work toward stabilization of greenhouse gas concentration. Okay. Okay. So, greenhouse gas concentration in the atmosphere, it laid out a list of responsibilities for the member states, which included formulating measures to mitigate climate change, cooperating in preparing for adaptations to the impact of climate change, promoting education, training, and public awareness related to climate change. So even FCC has 198 parties, including India, China, and the USA. The COP members have been meeting every year since 1995. So these are the information which are very much important from your exam point. Okay, let's move. The COP1 to COP25. What are the important takeaways I will be discussing? The COP1, the first conference was held 1995 in Berlin. COP3, it was held in Kyoto, Japan in 1997. The famous Kyoto Protocol was the foundation of it. Was adopted. It commits the member states to pursue limitations or reduction of greenhouse gas emission. COP8, India hosted the 8th COP in 2002 in New Delhi. It laid out several measures, including strengthening the technology transfer in all relevant sectors, including energy, transport, and R&D, and the strengthening of institutions of sustainable development. Then COP21, it is one of the most important that took place in 2015 in Paris, France. Okay, here countries agreed to work together to limit global warming to well below 2, preferably at 1.5 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial level. So these are important. Okay, please remember this. Significance of COP26. The event will see leaders from more than 190 countries, thousands of negotiation researchers and citizens coming together to strengthen a global response to the threat of climate change. It is a pivotal movement for the world to come together and accelerate the climate actions plan after COVID pandemic. So COP26 goals, according to UNFCCC, COP26 will work together four goals: secure global net zero by mid-century and keep 1.5 degrees within reach. The UNFCCC recommends that countries accelerate the phase out of coal, curtail deforestation, and speed up the switch to electric vehicles and encourage investment in renewables to meet this goal. Jitu বস্তু আমি আগতে recently I have discussed in the আমি EV policy discuss কৰিছো Delhi হওক অসমৰ হওক গোটেই countries বিলাক EV policy আছে আমি discuss কৰিছো right in current affairs only. সো সেইবিলাকৰ কাৰণে আপোনালোকে এইবোৰ কথা লিখিব পাৰিব COP26 ৰ ইম্প্যাক্ট হ'ব পাৰে য'ত ইয়াতে কোৱা হৈছে সুইচ টু ইলেক্ট্ৰিক ভেহিকলছ আপোনালোকে এক্সাম্পল দিব পাৰে SDG গোলৰ এক্সাম্পল দিব পাৰে right so adapt to protect communities and natural habitats countries will work together to protect and restore ecosystems and build defenses warning system and resilient infrastructure and agriculture to avoid loss of homes livelihood and even lives mobilize finance to deliver on first two goals, developed countries must make good on their promise to mobilize at least 100 billion in climate finance per year by 2020. To work together to deliver another important task at the COP26 is to finalize the Paris Rulebook. Paris Rulebook or kotha kowa hoise yate jot leaders will work together to frame a list of detailed rules that will help fulfill the Paris. So these are the information about the Paris, COP26 goals and other information related to COP1 to COP25. Right? Let's move. The next article is Jeep India launches CSR program. It is important from your General Studies paper 3, economic development. I took the whole article from the Hindu. Right? So why it is in news? Because Jeep India, a part of global automotive group, right? Scientists today launched its flagship corporate social responsibility initiative, Mission One Earth. Right. So it G2 important hoy for every corporate houses. Right. So they why they launch it to conduct various programs to encourage its customers and community to enjoy adventurous responsibility. Right. So what is corporate social responsibility? What is CSR? The term corporate social responsibility in general can be referred to as a corporate initiative to assess and take responsibility for the company's effect on the environment and impact on social welfare. What are the governance? In India, the concept of CSR is governed by Clause 135 of Companies Act 2013. India is the first country in the world to mandate CSR spending, allowing the framework to identify potential CSR activity. CSR provisions within the act applicable to companies with an annual turnover of 1,000 crore. Annual turnover is to company 1,000 crore or more, hoy, on net worth of rupees 500 crore and more, or a net profit of 5 crore and more, they have to provide the CSR, that is corporate social responsibility, in various sectors. Act requires companies to set up a CSR committee which shall recommend a corporate social responsibility policy to the board of directors and also monitor the same from time to time. The act encourages companies to spend 2% of their average net profit in the previous 3 years of CSR activities. Tar mane apunar jodi dhorilok ekhini criteria apunar company eta fulfill kore, that company have to spend 2% of their average net profit in the previous 3 years of CSR activities. So CSR activities eta apunar kobo pare CSR activity bostu tu ki tar kot teloke invest koribo সেইখিনি ইনভেষ্টমেন্ট হ'ব লাগিব কৰ্পোৰেট সোশ্যাল ৰেসপন্সিবিলিটি কৈছে মনত ৰাখিব সোশ্যাল ৰেসপন্সিবিলিটি কৈছে ৰাইট তো সোশ্যাল ৰেসপন্সিবিলিটি কাৰণে what are the CSR activities? The indicative activities which can be undertaken by a company, and the CSR has been specified under schedule 7 of the act. It a কোন বিলা activity CSR আন্ডাৰত আহে যদি কোম্পানী এটাই ধৰিলক ইৰাত যদি হাঙ্গার বা পভার্টিৰ কাৰণে কিবা কোম্পানী এটা 2% খৰচ কৰি আছে তেতিয়া হলে তেৰহিটো ধৰা হ'ব CSR বুজি পাইছে তাৰমানে ধৰিলো আপোনাৰ এটা কোম্পানী আছে এইখিনি ক্ৰাইটেৰিয়া ফলো কৰি আছে তো আপুনি কি কৰিব লাগিব 2% যদি আপুনি দেশৰ বা ধৰিলো কোনবা এটা ৰিজনৰ বা কোনবা এটা কোম্পানী ধৰিলো খুলিছে ঠিক আছে তো খুলিলে আপুনি কি কৰিব লাগে তাৰে 2% আপুনি খৰচ কৰিব প্ৰফিটৰ 2% আপুনি নেট প্ৰফিটৰ খৰচ কৰিব লাগিব 2% আপুনি ধৰি লওক হাংগাৰত বা আপুনি পভাৰ্টি আপুনি দুখীয়া মানুহ খুৱাইছে বা দুখীয়া মানুহ পইচা দিছে বা দুখীয়া মানুহ আপোনাৰ দুখীয়া মানুহৰ কাৰণে কিবা এমপ্লয়মেন্ট জেনাৰেট কৰিছে তো যিখিনি তাতে ইনভেষ্ট কৰিব সেইখিনি 2% যদি হয় এইটো আপোনাৰ CSR এক্টিভিটি ধৰা হ'ব promotion of education sector যদি আপনি করে gender equality empowering women combating human immunodeficiency virus acquired immune deficiency syndrome and other diseases right ensuring environmental sustainability contribution to the prime minister national relief fund যদি আপনি ধৰিলে আপনি নিজৰ নিজে আপনি 2% খৰচ কৰিব খোজা নাই আপনি কি কৰিছে prime minister relief fund দিছে that will be also considered in the CSR activity right that will be also considered in that part okay so these are the informations then apni eta best example hobo pare apnar Tata Institute of Social Science but Tata Institute of Research and Development to apnar heburu apnar Tata jibilak apnar company under CSR under etu dhore thik ase let's move then Shumang Leela festival begins in Manipur. It is important from a Genesis paper 1. Indian heritage and culture. Right. I took the article from Assam Tribune. So why it is in news? Because the 49th All Manipur Shumang Leela Festival 2020-21 was formally inaugurated at Iboyama Shumang Leela Sanglen. So more pronunciation police. I'm really sorry. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry. Sanglen, a playhouse in Imphal, on Monday. The festival is being organized by the Manipur State Kala Academy. Right, State Kala Academy organized korisile. The Shumang Leela festival. Shumang Leela is a popular as Jatra of Bengal, Tamasha of Maharashtra, Bhavi of Madhya Pradesh, Nautanki of Uttar Pradesh. So similar it would. The Shumang Leela generally was held in a courtyard of residential house. Over the years, it has become powerful medium for mass education, besides providing entertainment and relaxation. The immortal love story of Khamba and Thoibi in Manipur and other historical events related to Moirang were also conveniently used by Shumang Leelas in the style called Moirang Parva. So this is the whole information. Kyo add korisu because it is important from your APSC point of view, right? Because ma bare bare koisu judi ma hostel kotha hudise to etu hudibo pare, right? So Arunachal officers takes command of Navy hospital ship. It is very much important from Genesis paper 3 technology as well as security. Why it is in news? And I took the article from Assam Tribune only. Why it is in news? Because son of soil surgeon Captain Marak Patin, who had made Arunachal proud by becoming the first Indian Navy officer from the state to be promoted to the rank of captain in July 2020. He assumed the command of Indian Naval Hospital ship Kasturi at Lonavala in Maharashtra. Captain Patin, who assumed command on 11th October, has become the first Indian Navy captain from Arunachal Pradesh to command an Indian Navy hospital ship as per report. So that is what that was in news. So that is important. So it is important because he is the first Indian Navy officer from the state to be promoted, right, to the rank of captain. So it is also important because captain from Arunachal Pradesh is the first Indian Navy captain from Arunachal Pradesh. So that is important. Then Kushinagar connect to Sri Lanka. It is important for Indian heritage, paper 1, culture, history, etc. So it is the source, that is the Hindu and the PIB. It is basically in PIB, but some informations like this picture was in the Hindu, so I took the help from both of it. Why it is in news? Because when Prime Minister Narendra Modi declares open the Kushinagar International Airport in Uttar Pradesh on 20 October, a sizable Sri Lankan contingent, right, led by members of the first family will be present. So they also discuss about the Buddhist circuit. The airport is expected to provide seamless connectivity to the tourist place from Sri Lanka, Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, China, Thailand, Vietnam, and so on and so forth. Kushinagar is the center of Buddhist circuits, which consist of pilgrimage sites at Lumbini, Sarnath, and Gaya. Buddhist pilgrims consider Kushinagar a sacred site where they believe Gautam Buddha delivered his last sermon and attained Mahaparinirvana. You will be discussing all the salvation. We'll be discussing all these events in the art and culture part, where you will read about the Buddhism. Right. So, what is Mahaparinirvana? What is moksha? Not salvation and whatever. Mahaparinirvana, Parinirvana. We'll be discussing about all these things. Right. So, one of the murals depict Arhat Bhikkhu Mahinda, son of Emperor Ashoka, delivering the message of Buddha to King Devana, Devanampiyat, Devanampiyatissa of Sri Lanka. So that is was in news. The other shows the arrival of Theri Bhikkhuni Sanghamitra, right? কাৰণ এইটো চাগে মনত আছে আপোনালোক হিষ্ট্ৰীত পঢ়িছে আফটাৰ অশোকা যিটো এটা আছিলে ভেৰী ঘোষা আৰু এটা ধম্ম ঘোষা, ৰাইট? তো যেতিয়া ধম্ম ঘোষা যিটো আপোনাৰ ধৰি লওক ধৰ্ম প্ৰচাৰ কৰিব ধৰিলে অশোকাই, যেতিয়া আপোনাৰ বুদ্ধিজম যেতিয়া ফ'ল' কৰা ষ্টাৰ্ট কৰিলে, তাৰপিছত হি ষ্টাৰ্টেড চেণ্ডিং হিজ son and daughter, son that is Mahinda and the daughter that is Sanghamitra, তেওঁ যেতিয়া তেওঁ প্ৰপাগেট কৰিবলৈ পঠাই দিলে in different regions, so তেতিয়া they went to Sri Lanka also. So that is the time the daughter of the emperor in Sri Lanka, bearing a sapling of the sacred Bodhi tree under which Siddhartha Gautam is believed to have obtained enlightenment. Right. The gesture comes at a time when Sri Lanka and India have agreed to strengthen ties through their shared Buddhist heritage. Despite India's known support to Mahinda Rajapaksa administration in defeating the LTT, the sections among Sri Lanka's southern population remain in the skeptic, wary of big neighbor who interfered in the Sri Lanka's ethnic conflict sided with Tamils. Right. So that is the whole information. Then what is the cultural diplomacy? In the decades after the civil war, which coincides with China's growing influence, New Delhi seems keen on recasting its image as a friend using religious and cultural diplomacy. When India sets the first consignment of 5 lakh doses of Covishield vaccine to Sri Lanka. So that is also a vaccine diplomacy. Whatever you say, vaccine diplomacy was also in news, right? So that is also a cultural diplomacy also, right? So in January this year, the Indian High Commissioner in Colombo in a tweet linked its arrival to blessed Poya Day or full moon day considered holy by Buddhists. Sri Lanka too considers promoting shared Buddhist ties a matter of paramount importance, right? So these are the important informations about a cultural diplomacy also, and this was in the Hindu, which is very much important because it is his first sermon, right? So one of the, because it is important because one of the mural by Sri Lankan artist Solis Mendes, that will be gifted to India on the occasion. Eichon dia hobo. That is a mural by whom? The Sri Lankan artist Solis Mendes, that will be gifted to India on the occasion. Right? So that is important. Then the articles are over. The admissions are on for the optional batch. Sociology, Anthropology, and Political Science. It is starting from 23rd of October. If you want, you can join it, right? You can also contact in this number. Is it fine? Okay. These are the practice questions, prelims practice questions. Please go through it, and also I have given the practice question answers here. Okay. This is the mains practice question. That is critically analyze the significance of conference of parties in reducing the environmental degradation. So I have thoroughly discussed about the COP, so you can take benefit while writing the answers from that article. Okay. With this, the APSC mains advanced course is going on. You can register in this through this link and also call in this number. Right. So please, if you are interested, you can contact, you can take the admission. So with this, I will be ending this class. I hope you guys like this video. Please say something. Please comment something in the uh, comment section in YouTube. Also in here, you can say something. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. With this, I'll be ending this class, or I will wait for 1 minute if you have any question. Okay, so it's okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Also, you can take. You can also give. If you have any doubt, you can also join the WhatsApp groups, right? Which are in the description link also. Okay. With this, I'm ending this video. I hope you like this video, right? I hope you are benefited with it. I was just trying various things with it, right? There is so much content in these PPTs, so please try to get benefit out of it. Okay. With that, I will be ending this class. Thank you. Thank you very much.